the little tick marks, they're sometimes hard to see. So there's an option to make those red tick marks a little thicker, a little easier to see. And that's this little button over here. Just at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little sort of gearbox. It looks like a ninja star hitting somebody in the back. Looks like that's the animation preferences. And when you open this up, the animation preferences come up on this little bit here called the time slider. And the key tick size, you can see there's an option here. You can change the thickness of these, and I'll crank this up to 5. So now it just makes those red lines much thicker and easier to see. So particularly if you've got a small screen or you're stuck just on one monitor, it makes it a lot easier to read than the default where it's a very thin, tiny little red line, and sometimes you just can't really see them very well. Okay, so that little setting there makes these a little bit easier to see. I'll also show there are options for the manipulators as well. So if you look up here, manipulators, and you grab this, you can actually change the thickness of the manipulator lines. So again, if you're on a machine where the screen's a bit small or maybe the color lines are very, very thin, you can change the line size. So the rotate tool, it's really easy to see those 3 axes. Okay, and it's all here in the preferences. When you click on this little icon, it will default to the time slider, but this is the preferences window. This is where you can go find a lot of settings and customize Maya, not just animation, but other parts of the pipeline as well. But what I'm looking at here is the time slider, and there's even options here for the playback speed. We were looking at how you could right click here and choose the playback speed, but you can also do that here. The playback speed is 24 frames per second, times 1. So that means it's 24. You can set it to play at half speed or double speed or other. There's some options there. Another option, which is nice, is updating all views. And again, this is something that you may want to have. What this means is that if I have multiple views of the same scene, they will both update at the same time. So that's nice because if you're working in a perspective view and you have a camera view, they'll both update at the same time. But it also means that now your computer has to look after 2 windows instead of 1. So it costs you a little bit of performance, but that might be very useful because you want to see, well, what I'm tweaking over here, I want to see what it looks like in the camera. But the default is Maya will only update whatever view is active. So whether it's a perspective view or a side view or a top view, but you can change that option here to all, okay? But again, check with William and see what preference he prefers in modeling class.